Welcome back. Joining us now is Dr. Nicole Swiner, partner at Durham Family Medicine. Doctor, it's good to see you again. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You can be my co-host. I've
I
seen
would
you
love
so
that.
much. That is awesome. Well, I really look forward to this because, to be honest with you, well, you know, I am a new parent again, and that's for another show. But so I've gone through the vaccination thing. I've had this little beautiful baby infant and have gone to the doctor's office, and my goodness, the number of vaccinations these kids get today is kind of scary. So I would love to get your perspective on what you tell your patients and even your family members about vaccinations.
Yeah, I mean, so as a family doc, pretty much every day I'm, talking about or giving vaccinations in some form or fashion, all ages, but particularly to babies and kids. And so we have this, discussion with parents a lot. We were talking right before we came on about, talking to them with my doctor hat on and then talking to them with my mommy hat on. I have two girls at home. And, you just have to give them the straight data to begin with, give them the facts, the stats, the literature, what we've studied, what we know to be, true and not fake, as far as, some of the things in the media and the internet are. And then I talk to them about the real feelings and the emotions that can go, with giving your child all of these things that sometimes can be, scary when you read the side effects.
Well, and because it's kind of my job and I read into these things, I'm probably more scared than the average parent. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff in these vaccines, like mercury and aluminum. And those are neurotoxins, and I think those are bad. So, so why are we putting stuff like that in babies? That's what I'm asking myself, and that's what I asked the doctor. What would your response be? Because
the inverse can be horrible. I mean, so, we were talking a little bit about the measles outbreak, and smallpox used to be an issue, and flu, unfortunately, still, takes lives, each and every year. So just imagine if we didn't have these vaccines, and when you balance the negative and the positive, almost always the majority of the cases end up being good in that we're protecting our populations, protecting our children from getting sick, protecting other people from making our children sick with herd populations. So all in all, it's worth it. You'll always have those small cases of the scary stories, but I would much rather bet on the good than the bad when it comes to the shots.
So it's risk benefit.
Yeah.
Risk benefit. See, I grew up, I'm a little older. Yes, I am. And I got measles. In fact, my mom, there's 5 boys, and we all got measles at the same time. It wasn't that big a deal for us as kids. For my mom, I can only imagine.
Right.
Comedy shows would use measles, and they'd laugh. Oh, big deal. Get to stay home from school. But this measles outbreak that we've had in neighboring states and out on the West Coast, it almost comes across in the news as being frightening, as though this is a very, very dangerous disease. So how dangerous is measles?
It can be fairly dangerous. I mean, you can unfortunately end up with either long-term complications, and there's also have been deaths associated with it, whether it be neurologic things or the long-lasting skin conditions that can come from the massive outbreaks on the skin that these children have been having. So I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
So what about the kids that go to school and they're not vaccinated versus the kids who are vaccinated? There seems to be a growing movement of parents who have decided, I don't want my kids vaccinated.
Right.
So are those unvaccinated kids putting the vaccinated kids at risk?
Absolutely. It's a huge concern, yes. And so again, with my parent hat, I understand that, when you read the data, you look at the side effects, it can be really overwhelming. But what folks have to understand is not only are you potentially putting your child at risk for catching some of these fatal, diseases and illnesses, but you are also putting other children at risk, because the truth is not all vaccinations will cover you 100%, okay?
Right.
And they only last for particular periods at a time. So if your child, the unvaccinated child, has been exposed to an infection or has an infection, unbeknownst to you, send them to school. And a vaccinated child is, for some reason, their immune system has been suppressed, or it's, the 90-day cutoff after they had their flu shot, et cetera. You're putting another child or a classroom full of children at risk for having that infection and then spreading it elsewhere. So it's very serious, and that's how I have to explain it to some of my patients and the parents that are worried, other than, trying to reassure them that in 11 years of my personal doctoring experience, I've, knock on wood, never had one fatality or one long-term complication from a bad shot. So
that's good.
You just have to give it to them and let them figure it out as they will, as they feel comfortable.
Now, are these vaccinations, I'll just use measles because it's in the news. When you get a vaccination, is that good for life? Are you taken care of, or do you need to go back in and get boosters?
No, I would say maybe 50 to 60% of them require booster shots. So measles, mumps, rubella, the MMR shot, generally given at age 1, and then again before kindergarten around age 4. So it's good to have multiples of those in particular because they won't last you a long time. And then if you happen to be traveling a lot to different countries, or if you feel like you lost your immunity right before pregnancy, or if you're working in the hospitals a lot around other potentially sick individuals, and you may need to get it again.
Are adults okay, or is it based on the fact that we have a vaccinated population and the risk level is low? I guess what I'm asking is, okay, I'm young, I'm vaccinated. When I get to be my age, do I need to get another vaccination for? Well, I won't get measles because I've had it, but you know what I'm asking.
You can always, when you see your doctor and have your physicals or your checkups, you can always ask them to do blood work to check your antibodies and your titer, so they can check in the blood to make sure that you still are covered. And if your antibody is negative, then you can get the booster shot and be covered again.
So what, for the folks who are watching today who have this hesitation when it comes to vaccinations, what should they be asking their doctor when they go in for a visit?
Like I say, in all instances between a patient and provider, is just to be real. Bring up all your worries, bring all your articles that you've read online, bring up all your fears, and have a real discussion about it. If you don't ask the questions, then they can't answer them for you. And hopefully you have a comfortable rapport with your provider that you can ask those stupid questions and get some real answers, so you can make an educated decision and not based off of something you heard or read.
It's so tough for parents. It really is, because you're educated, you're a doctor, and you're constantly being educated and updated, correct? I go to Google and WebMD, and I'm dying of some horrific tropical disease, but because I don't know, I have to have that trust. I have to have that kind of relationship with the doctor. How important is that?
Extremely. It literally can be a choice between life and death. You either not being upfront about what's truly going on with you, whether it be mentally, physically, medically, you not telling the doctor or the provider what's really going on with you, or you not feeling comfortable about asking those questions. If you have a concern about what happens if I take this medicine, or I'm on this medicine, will this medicine interact? You need to have that open dialogue and make sure that you have all your questions answered. You don't want to base your decisions off of Dr. Google and Dr. WebMD, because some of those things can be false.
Most of the time they are when I Google. So so for the folks watching, it's cool, right? It's okay. Go ahead and get your kids vaccinated. That would be your recommendation.
Yes. Personally, again, in my practice for 11 years, I've never had anyone to be adversely affected in any long-term way. My 5 and 7-year-old are vaccinated, and they are stellar, I think, and they're doing fine. I was vaccinated, so I would much rather protect our population than be unprotected at this point.
Terrific. Well, so good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel better. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. And thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions or would like to know more, visit our website at RaleighCW.com and myrdctv.com. I'm Bill LeMay. Thank you for watching Community Matters, and we'll see you next week.